Oh yeah, do a little dance, cut a little wood, get down night. Uh-oh. Hi everyone, welcome to Think Woodworks. So the last video I posted was about a drill-powered bandsaw. I built a unit just for testing. It was not a permanent device. Definitely would not use that in a permanent application. There was no guard on it, there were no bearing guides on it. It was just purely for testing whether or not my drill could power a small bandsaw, and it performed wonderfully. If you haven't seen that video, I'll post a link below, but I wanted to go over that a little bit today, kind of discuss some of the things that I did on how I put it together quickly so I could just test it, and that'll give you some ideas down the road if you ever decide you want to build a bandsaw. So this is a really simple setup. All I did was laminate two pieces of plywood together and cut out a shape in here. Now when I laminated them, there was a little bit of a bow here which was causing the blade to ride forward. So what I did is I put this piece of walnut in the back here, and then with a little piece, just a little chunk down here, and then screwed it down both top and bottom, and that's not only straightened it out, but it helped the blade track properly. So to get the blade to sit on here tightly, I more or less just laid it out with the blade around these and then pulled it out as tight as I could and put 2 points to drill holes in. And then when I drilled the hole, I drilled the top hole about, I don't know, about 3/8 of an inch higher than the actual mark. So that gave me enough tension. And then I figured if the blade was still loose, I would just add some layers of duct tape for bandsaw wheels, and that would kind of help expand it a little bit. It was a little bit of a pain to get the blade on initially, but once it was on, it did fine. All right, I had a few people mention that this wasn't a safe setup, and you're absolutely right. It was not a safe setup. It was simply a temporary setup to test the strength of the drill, to make sure that a drill could drive the system without too much trouble. So, keeping that in mind, on the next build, or when I build all the machines together, this will have a nice housing. It'll all be protected. It'll have a guide system, which will make a big difference. Especially with the guide system, it'll make a big difference on how it performs. Okay, so for the bed of the bandsaw here, all I did was leave a flat shelf here and basically screwed a piece down to it as a temporary bed. And that worked pretty well for testing. And then on the top, I put the bearings in the top wheel, and on the bottom, I actually put the bearings in the body of the machine itself, or the body of the housing of itself. Let me take this off and show you. Behind here, I put a washer between the housing and the wheel itself. And in this build, I use these machine bearings that have a flange on them, or a rim, whatever you want to call it. And this was a 5/8 bearing ID, and I didn't have any 5/8 bolts, and it wouldn't matter anyway because I don't have a drill that'll chuck a 5/8. So what I ended up using are these bushings. These are brass bushings that slide over a 1/2 inch rod, and then they were a little too wide, so I just put them on the drill press and sanded them down a little bit, and that worked. So there are a couple of things that are really important when putting a bandsaw together, and one of them is making sure that the wheels are tuned. Now, while I didn't balance them out, what I did do is set up a really simple system here on the machine itself that I could put the wheels in and then make sure that they're nice and round. And the way I did that was just mounted the drill on here, put these in, and then used a chisel, turn the drill on to use a chisel to kind of balance them out and put a little bit of a crown in the center of that. Now, I needed to balance the top wheel too, but the top wheel has the bearings in it, so I can't just plop a bolt in it and make it turn. So what I did was take some double-sided tape and some oversized washers and ran them through, and then did the same thing on both sides. And what that did is held it in place while I put it in there, when I put it in the bottom and ran it, and then did the same thing, trimming it up with my chisel. What's really cool about this bandsaw build is it doesn't take a whole lot of imagination to imagine it being used as a belt sander as a disc sander, and there are a couple other applications it could be used for as well. As you can see, it's not overly complicated. Now I definitely need to put a tensioner on the top wheel, and there's definitely needs a housing, definitely needs bearing guides, and I need to make that frame a little bit stronger. The 2 sheets of plywood just wasn't enough to keep that frame the way I needed it. So I'll have a build up coming up on that. What I'm doing is testing a bunch of different applications for drill powered tools, and when I'm happy with or satisfied with the results, I will include that tool in what I'm going to call the Izzy's multifunctional tool system, or table. And that is something that I've been looking at for a while, and now that I'm testing and knowing that this drill is doing really well at getting the job done, I'm a lot more confident about it in the future. So, and that will come up down the road. It's not something I'm going to jump on right away. I'm going to do a few more tests, so you'll see a few more builds from drill powered tools like that over the next few weeks. And then once we get to that point, I can put everything together, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the end results.